Alright, so quick demo of some of the things that I've learned in the past month working with the Cloud of Things platform. My name is Ivo Bogers. I'm IoT pre-sales manager in Stockholm, Sweden, and I joined T-Systems last month working with the IoT portfolio. What I want to demonstrate here is a prototype that I've built based on a couple of questions that I got from some of my customers. First of all, so we're starting out with the cockpit. So this is the default application that opens when you get access to your tenant. In here, you have a number of applications that my user has access to, and I've opened some of those applications in a couple of other tabs. So one of the applications is the administration application, and then there's also the device management application. Cockpit is also an application. If we start out with the device management, you can see that I have here two devices in my provision in my tenant. If we look at one of the devices here, one ending in 49, you can find some information about this device right here, and you can see that it's of the type NB-IoT connector device. So this is a device that talks to the NB-IoT connector on the Cloud of Things platform. There's some other information about the device further down here, serial number, when it was last updated, if there's any active alarms on this device. It turns out there's a major alarm active, so we can look at that in a second. The serial number is the serial number that is printed on the side of the device. And if we just look at that real quick, you can actually see that that is correct. It is a service button from T-Systems. So here's my button, and if I look on the side of that device, you can see that the 2888 is in fact the serial number of the device. Let's have a look at the alarm. If we look in the cockpit, check alarms, you see that there is a major alarm active. So I'm going to clear that alarm just to make sure that my system is clean. All right, so no alarms active now. Go back, and there's actually a lot more you can do under the hood by creating what is called business rules. Now, those are defined in the administration section. So in here, if we go into business rules, you can see that the smart rules that I just showed you are also defined here as a business rule under event processing. So if I click on this particular rule here, Smart Rule 107, you can actually see the source code, and this is Esper code, corresponding to the smart rule that you create in the cockpit application. That's only one kind of rule that you can create. You can actually create many more rules, as I said. So what I've done here is I wanted to create a rule that contacts an external system. It's quite simple, and you can actually figure out how to do this from the Cumulosity documentation, online documentation. So what I'm doing in this rule is I'm basically sending a request, and the way to do that is to insert a statement into the send request data stream or output stream in Cumulosity. The type of request that I'm creating into that stream is a post request. I have a URL where I'm going to send the request to. This is, I'll show you in a second, my inventory management system that I've set up as a dummy. As the body of that request, I'm going to send a piece of text saying service button hashtag source.name was pressed. Now this hashtag source.name is a Cumulosity variable that you can use in your statements. And you can, it's a variable that is then being replaced in this function here, replace all placeholders by an alarm. And I authorize as well because I need to send an authorization header when I contact this API endpoint from my inventory management system. And when do I do this? I do this every time an alarm is created. So that's basically what this rule says. It's sending a request, a post request to this URL with this body, which basically will include the ID of the device that generated the alarm, with this authentication header. whenever an alarm is created. So let's go ahead and create an alarm. But before we do that, I'm going to show you what the inventory management system looks like in the back end. So that's basically a dummy inventory management system that I've created based on Node-RED. So we're going to have a quick look. This is the order management system. It has a counter that calculates the total amount of work orders received, and it also will highlight whenever it receives a work order what the details of that work order are. And that's just a little dashboard that I made. Under the hood, what actually happens is it's a Node-RED flow that exposes a REST endpoint. This is the endpoint, the order management endpoint, through using a post request. And that's it. It basically just sends a 200 OK back. It displays the order and it counts the amount of orders received. So let's go ahead and create the order. So what we're basically doing right now is I'm at a warehouse, and I've run out of supplies, for example, and I'm going to be ordering new supplies by pressing the IoT service button. Now we're going to see two things. We're going to see in the Cloud of Things dashboard an alarm being raised. So if we keep an eye on the alarm monitor, you will see that an alarm shows up, and consecutively you're going to see that alarm triggering a API call to my order management system here. So let's go ahead and press the button. So here's my service button that I was just showing you. It says press for service, so I'm going to do that. When you do that, it says please confirm, so I'm just going to confirm that. And you can see that it's now going to contact the cellular network. You can see that it worked. So the service was performed, and you can see already in my order management system that the service button was pressed. This is the ID of the button, and the work order counter has increased by 1. And we can also see that in the cockpit of Cloud of Things, a major alarm, service button pressed, meaning somebody's out of stock. This is the ID.